Rod, first just walk us through kind of what's there in Afghanistan and how much is there.
Right. So thank you. As you mentioned, lithium, copper, talc, cobalt, dozens of other minerals and gemstones, and some estimates point to about 1.4 million tons of rare earth elements such as lanthanum and cerium, neodymium, and these are the minerals critical for high-tech electronics, green tech, smartphones, hard drives, aerospace, and defense technologies. And worth is a difficult parameter to gauge because of the difference between utilization and potential, but some estimates of around $1 trillion US dollars sounds about right.
It's interesting. The Taliban is currently giving a press conference saying they're not going to produce any more opium. Maybe they're going to focus on mining. In order to do so, how easy would it be? What is the current state? How easy is it to mine this stuff? Just even from a geological point of view, is it easy to get out? And then you've got to deal with kind of roads and rail and all the other kit that you need.
Right. Now, it really depends on which minerals we're talking about. But because of the geology of Afghanistan, some of these deposits are remarkably accessible, especially the rare earth elements. But that's just the geological point of this. Afghanistan is very underdeveloped, not only because with respect to mining, but also, as you mentioned, the infrastructure. You need roads, you need rail, you need energy, you need water, and you need security. And all of these things will make a transition to a mining-based economy very difficult. And that's not to even mention you need a trained workforce, which has presumably been gutted over the last decade.
So, Rod, let's just pretend for a second that the Taliban had a blank checkbook. How much money do you think would need to be put into it to develop, and I'll just say lithium just for argument's sake, and if it is developed, how quickly can it sort of get to market? What's the time frame are we talking about?
Again, that's a difficult question, but because it's more than just a pocketbook, it's also a stable country. But just in terms of a time frame, we're probably talking about decades rather than years. And it's a lot of money. It takes, even in stable countries, it takes a considerable amount of time to go from mineral discovery to exploitation. And so these are difficult things to do. I think minerals will have a future in Afghanistan, but I think as I mentioned before, a trained workforce and benefits to the people, I think it's a big question mark.
A lot of people, when they think about rare earths, think about China. How does what Afghanistan has compare to what China has?
So the issue with China is that it has developed and processed rare earth minerals, and so which is a hazardous thing to do. The United States used to do it to a very large degree, but the ecological issues were pretty pronounced. So in terms of potential, I'm not sure we really know until you get a lot of geologists on the ground, but it's likely to be in the top 5 worldwide, maybe even higher than that.
What are the chances that China can become to Afghanistan as it was to certain parts of South Africa and other parts of the Middle East in terms of pumping in billions to support natural resources so they can kind of get it on their own? What are the chances of something like that happening?
That's a terrific question. I think the interest in lithium and rare earth minerals are definitely there in Chinese strategic planning. I think it's an open question to see how much interest in Afghanistan broadly the Chinese really have, considering Afghanistan's security and stability challenges. You're taking on a lot, not just the infrastructure needed to process and move minerals, but you're also you're bringing being asked to deal with security as well. It's not clear to me the Chinese have that appetite. I think, I think it's an open question. It's an interesting question.